What's up, everybody? It's your boy Mel for no reaction. How you doing? How you doing? So today, well, it's time to take a break from the fifth dimension into the realm of the art gallery, but not specific one, the night gallery. This was another series from Rod Serling, which let's just unlike Twilight Zone, this one focuses more on horror and supernatural. Unfortunately, due to the nosiness, and let's just when I say nosiness, I meant the constant interruptions from the heads of Universal, which, yeah, this was not done by CBS, this was done by Universal. They kind of screwed the series completely and only had like 3 seasons of Night Gallery, which Rod Serling considers to be not his best, even though the show looks pretty good. Had a lot of potential, which it was parodied in in Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. I think it was the third chapter or the second chapter of Treehouse of Horror, where you have Bart as the role of Rod Serling of each episode. Yeah, but yeah, originally when doing Night Gallery, it was supposed to be like like kind of like the Twilight Zone, like one story per episode. But fortunately, Universal wanted like, hey, how about we have 3 episodes in one, 3 stories in one episode? Since hey, it's a gallery, why not have a bunch of paintings? Why not tell like 3 stories in one episode? Which, yeah, knowing Rod Serling, because remember, the fact that the heads of Universal at the time did not let him cook, and they forgot how he works, because look at Twilight Zone. Look how long that lasted. That lasted from 1959 until 1960. Wow. Well, it had 5 seasons, so let's see. 59, 60, 61, 62, 1963. That was its final season for CBS, and they had a lot of good episodes. Some were banned for, let's just say, stupid reasons. Like, there was one featuring a young George Takei, aka Mr. Sulu, playing the role of a Japanese gardener and a former GI locked in an attic when he knows a samurai sword, which, yeah. Reawakening the horrors of World War II between these two, which was a good episode. And there were other episodes as well, which, for Night Gallery, I remember there were some episodes I do enjoy. They have a good cast of actors, some famous celebrities, which you might recognize from Orson Welles, John Ashton, Phyllis Diller. I don't know who else appeared in. Man, there was a lot. There was a lot of episodes featuring famous actors. I think Orson Welles appeared more in a episode, kind of like a poetry one involving snow, I believe. And there was an episode with John Ashton and Phyllis Diller. Like, John Ashton looked at the body of his deceased wife until you realize he murdered her, but somehow he died as well. And he thought he was going to be in heaven, but nope. He's in hell, but since Phyllis Diller cares, oh, wait, well, you're not in heaven. But it says, nope. I'm staying here because I'm your eternal punishment for the rest of your damn life. Man, the fact that Phil Dare passed away in around 2009 or the 2010s, and John Ashton's still alive and kicking. He's like in his 90s. Damn. Okay, if Tim Burton does not put him in the in the Wednesday series and bring back Grandpapa Adams, if you know what I'm talking about. He did a return role in the new Addams Family as Grandpapa Adams, like the grandfather, like the great grandpa, which he's like an older version of Gomez, which we all seen the '60s Addams Family, exactly the same and enjoyable. Dude, okay. If he's bringing back former cast members from the Addams Family, from Christina Ricci to Christopher Lloyd, 2 former actors who are from the movie, mostly playing Fester and Wednesday. They gotta bring back the original Gomez Adams playing Grandpa Adams because come on, give that man a bone. Let him cook. Let him be back. That'll be awesome to see that man play Gomez, Grandpa Adams once again before he passes because man, that would be a loss. That's an opportunity willing to lose for a long time. Who agrees? Comment down below if you wish to see John Ashton reprising his role as Grandpa Adams in Wednesday season 3. If they're planning to cast him there, because hey, let it happen. We want to see our man play that character once again and make us laugh again. But back to here. So it's the 10 favorite Night Gallery segments from, long name, Fever Dreamland Theater. So let's check it out. And before we begin, did you subscribe? Hit the bell, you know the drill. Let's check it out. Go.
Good evening, and welcome to the Night Gallery.
Dude, it's that opening, that is awesome. It's so trippy.
Today, we're taking a trip back to one of the darker corners of 1970s TV, Rod Serling's Night Gallery. This series was the follow-up to Serling's classic Twilight Zone. While that show explored morality and social commentary across various genres, Night Gallery was a different beast altogether.
Oh yeah.
This show was far more focused on shocks, scares, and the macabre.
Oh.
Night Gallery featured prominent stars from the era, many in starring
Hey,
roles,
Leonard Nimoy.
and even a few familiar faces who showed up in minor parts.
What's your name? Francis.
Once again,
Is that
Rod
Mark
Serling
Hamill?
took up hosting duties, although in this case he was more of a curator. Serling introduced each episode via a series of surreal
Oh, I
paintings,
remember that
all
story.
of which
That story is awesome. That painting, though. And those are actual paintings. I don't know, I remember who's the artist who does these paintings. They're actual paintings. There's a book called The Art of Night Gallery. Man, I just lost the opportunity to buy that around for $75 years ago. Damn, I would love to own that one. The book explains each painting from each story. That's one I can't remember. That's from season 1, I believe. Of only a ghost of a girl who died in a fire, and the remains of the house are near a sanitarium. Jesus. Whew. That's a
served
good
as a
story.
harbinger of the horrors to come.
Oh! What the fuck?
Night Gallery aired for 3 seasons, from
Hey,
1970
yo.
to 1973. Episodes were broken
Yeah.
down into segments, many of which went on
Oh,
to
the
become
pilot.
fan favorites.
That's a good one.
And with that in mind, dim your lights and settle in.
What the-
What follows are my top 10 favorite Night Gallery segments.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's see. Fuck you. Oh? Question
Let's
of
begin
fear.
with one of the more unsettling Night Gallery entries, A Question of Fear. This one starred Leslie Nielsen as
Oh.
Colonel Malloy, a tough-talking mercenary and disbeliever in the supernatural. At a private social club, Colonel Malloy listens on as a fellow club member, Dr. Mozzie, reveals his terrifying ordeal in a haunted house.
When I went in there, my hair was jet black. It was this color when I came out.
Malloy is quick to accuse Dr. Mozzie of being a coward, and this sets the stage for what's to come.
Are you a betting man, Colonel Malloy? It depends.
Dr. Mozzie bets
Dude, look at that. This is from the 70s, so look at Leslie Nielsen. Damn, he was young. Like, I don't know how old he was in The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun happened around the early 90s, late 80s, so this is from the 70s, so he still had a little bit of dark hair, but it started to turn gray. But damn, shit.
Malloy $15,000. He can't spend one night in the house without being frightened to death.
For
Oh.
$15,000, I would survive a night in it.
Bullshit, look at Leslie Nielsen. He is young, damn. I remember Leslie Nielsen when he had the gray hair and Naked Gun. He was a great comedian. He also, I think, yeah, he appeared in Creepshow back in 83, I believe. 83, 88. He played one of the main villains in one of the stories involving, like he tried to drown he caught the guy who was sleeping with his girl. So he buried him. Well, from waist down, they drowned in the beach. Yeah. And behind the scenes, he always carried his famous fart machine, which he was even buried with one of his fart machines, and let's say, really, a farting corpse. A gag to the end. Mm-hmm.
Hell.
With that, we're well on our way to some vintage ghostly action. In the abandoned home, which you may recognize as the Bates house from Psycho,
Oh, yeah.
Colonel Malloy encounters all kinds of nightmarish insanity.
Okay, that is pretty cool. They're actually reusing some like the old sets from, and remember this is done by Universal, so they're using a lot of bunch of sets from Universal right there. And this is the Bates Mansion from Psycho, so it's pretty cool they're using the Bates Mansion for this. And like, did they use this mansion also in Tales from the Crypt? Actually, I try to remember. It looks like it. Yeah, it looks like the mansion could be. If you know what I'm talking about, it's the episode where you have these fraternity pledges. You have to go inside a haunted mansion to stay up in the attic, which, unfortunately, spoiler alert, they get murdered. Which stars the actor who plays Wesley Crusher in this. I'm talking about the one from Tales from the Crypt. House of Horror. That was the name of the episode. And also, actually, a story from one of the comics from Tales from the Crypt, which is a little more different, actually. But continuing, holy shit, look at that deep ghost.
A question of fear delivers
Again.
in terms of eerie visuals and a spooky soundscape filled with maniacal laughter. Malloy's adversary here, as played by Fritz Weaver, is in top form as always. You may recall him from The Twilight Zone and Creepshow. Speaking of which,
It's showtime! Yeah, I'll take this!
once again we get to see Leslie
Wait,
Nielsen in
wait,
full-on
where was he?
villainous Creepshow mode.
Look at that face.
Creepshow. Speaking.
Wait. What was this? Which episode? Okay. Oh, he was also in Creepshow? I didn't know that. But Fred Weaver. Wait. Which one was he? Which one was he? No, it can't be the cockroach. We all know that Stephen King played the hillbilly farmer. So this has to be with Fluffy. The crate from the episode from the story The Crate. So he has to be one of Fluffy's victims. Because we don't know the main protagonist is the Hawthorne. The actor who played the priest in The Fog. That one. So I guess he's one of the Fluffy's next meals, I believe. Yeah, because he's next to a wall. So he has to be one of the Fluffy's victims. Which, yeah, that's what Savini calls him, Fluffy. And yeah, I didn't expect him mentioning Creepshow when I mentioned Leslie Nielsen. That was actually pretty cool.
Of which,
It's showtime!
once again we get to see Leslie Nielsen in full-on villainous Creepshow mode.
Young
Complete
Leslie
with the
Nielsen.
mustache and eye patch, signifying this guy really is evil incarnate.
You must be joking.
While watching this, you may think you know what's ahead,
Hey, yo.
but there are twists and turns that will keep you guessing until the end.
Aceptado en todo Puerto Rico.
Bro.
Plan de salud Menonita.
Man. If it was like one story instead of three, that would be insane. Get the fuck out.
Stand by to roll tape. 181.
Okay,
Roll
9.
tape.
What's
Slate
9?
in. 3, 2, 1. Audition tape number 323, The Herbie Bittman Show.
Oh,
Up next, we have another
no.
standout segment, The Boy Who Predicted Earthquakes.
I remember this one. This is the kid who pretends to, he tries to predict the future until he realizes his next prediction is actually the end of the world, which is insane. I remember this episode.
This one starred one of
but-
the most recognizable character actors of the last 60 plus years, Clint Howard. Howard is famous for his many roles in TV and films, but Star Trek fans will likely recognize him as
yeah.
Balok, the small alien with a big laugh. In this tale, Howard portrayed Herbie Bittman, a child with the ability to predict the future.
Oh yeah, I remember him.
Howard's performance here is solid, and he does an excellent job drawing us into this compelling story.
Tomorrow morning, at about 1 minute till 6, there'll be an earthquake in the Los Angeles area.
Herbie's journey to stardom is also interesting. Initially, his loudest critic is a hot-headed network TV exec, Mr. Wellman, as played by Michael Constantine.
You want to put a 10-year-old myopic who sits on pillows and tells freight stories.
But after one of Herbie's predictions come true, Wellman changes his tune. I can't help but wonder how much this depiction of a nasty network bigwig parallels Serling's own experiences with similar individuals. Anyway, the real intrigue in this segment are themes such as the nature of foresight and the moral dilemmas such power demands. The real question being, is Herbie's ability to predict the future a gift or a curse?
Yeah. I think the next prediction he did was that he actually lied because the real prediction he predicted was way worse. He predicted the end of the world, but instead of saying that, he said something else to calm the people down. So yeah. I didn't know he was in Austin Powers, which... Also in Star Trek, he was the little guy? Wow. Wait, that happened in the 60s, so... Well, this was in the 70s, so yes, how old was he? Like a toddler at the time? Well, no, it wasn't his voice for life. It was actually a grown person doing that voice. Oh, I recognize that painting. That's the robot ones, like, you know, like the robot mates. Yep, I recognize that painting. Jesus. Is it?
The next two entries on my list cover similar
Yep.
themes and they're close in spirit to
That
Twilight
is just
Zone, but both
fuck.
remain true to the vibe of Night Gallery. First,
You
we
can't
have
get help
You Can't
like
Get Help
that
Like
anymore.
That Anymore, a creepy, futuristic tale about robotic domestic servants. This segment starred two highly acclaimed Academy Award winners, Cloris Leachman and Broderick Crawford, as Mr. and Miss Fulton. The Fultons are in need of a new maid, but what they probably need a lot more is mental help.
Yeah.
As we quickly learn, these two are actually sadistic monsters with a history of abusing and torturing their robotic servants.
All the major circuits torn out. All the limbs dismembered and fractured.
This segment does echo similar sci-fi tales, and it begs the question, what makes something human beyond mere appearance
Oh, God.
and behavior?
What did you ever kick, punch, and abuse before we developed robots?
Hey, I recognize that guy. Shit. I forgot the name. I forgot where I saw this guy because the voice sounds familiar. Can't remember, but dude, when I saw that episode, you saw that robot start like actual tears, like actual feelings. That is fucked. And you know these robots are also sentient. At the point of these two masochists torturing this female robot just for the fun of it, and if I recall correctly, the newer one murders them at the end. I can't remember if I have to rewatch it. This is from that's from season 1, I believe. But still, and oh yeah, now I remember I've seen him before. From when I heard the voice, wait, is he where? Oh yeah, he was in Planet of the Apes. More specifically, he was in Conquer of the Planet of the Apes and Battle for the Planet of the Apes. Because he played the assistant of the governor, who was the main villain, and he became the main villain in the final Planet of the Apes. I'm talking about the original ones, with the original run from the 60s until Battle, the original 5. So he was the villain, he played the governor of the, the mutant humans. Jesus. I forgot he was in here.
It's for you.
Although robotic servants are central to the story, the deeper exploration is the ugliness of humanity.
You know what's fucked? Recently, I was actually watching a classic episode from the classic episodes from Doctor Who, the Tom Baker one of the killer robots. You know which one I'm talking about. These miners using these robots, and they start murdering them. It's the Fourth Doctor Adventures, which, oh, I'm sorry, those robots are creepy. Especially the effect when they give them the red eyes when they start to turn evil. Those motionless faces, but the eyes when they turn red. Jesus Christ! It's strange why they never bring those robots back. Like, what happened to these robots? Because they never brought. I know recently in Doctor Who they keep bringing back like classic villains from Sutekh to Omega. Okay, Sutekh, yeah, I can get. He can actually evolve through time since he was exposed through the outside of the temporal of the TARDIS for years after Tom Baker's Doctor thought he banished him through the time vortex. In reality, he was actually clutching on the TARDIS this whole time, evolving into this Anubis-like beast, which is actually pretty cool. And it was voiced by the original actor who voiced in the original episode Pyramids on Mars. I want to know if they can bring those robots back from that classic episode to the newer one, which will be pretty cool. Seeing them with the same expression, like more like similar with the similar face, like more advanced, but still evil. These are the original ones that are from that episode. That'll be insane, but who knows? Yeah.
And this
those
issue
two are
takes center
assholes.
stage when the Fulton's new maid, as played by Lana Wood, enters the
yeah.
picture.
Now, wait a minute.
It doesn't take long for the couple to fall back into
she
their
murders
terrible
him.
behavior.
If you wanted a robot aide whose functions were more complicated,
That's full the
Beyond the subtext, what keeps you on the edge of your seat this time around is wondering how far this couple will go and how much the new maid is willing to endure.
This is rather an annoying.
I can't remember if she murders them, which, yeah, deserve. Break that bottle, slash that fat ass, and these two are played by 2 Academy Award winners, which, man, the performance for them is good. They make their character more believable and more hated. These playing as scumbags that treat it as like a curiosity that I'm being. And this is during time like the time of Planet of the Apes, so yeah. What's the
Today
next
at our
one?
university, the occasion of the oral section
this is the
of
Vincent
your
Price one.
final examination.
Class of '99.
Next up, we have Class of 99. This one stars the legendary
Vincent Price.
I wish you all very good luck.
Yeah. Fuck off.
Price actually had 2 appearances in
Oh.
Night Gallery, his other being the
forgot.
very trippy The Return of the Sorcerer, an H.P. Lovecraft
Oh, yeah.
adaptation complete with Supper Time with the Goat. Class of 99 isn't as wacky as that segment, but this entry is still pretty out there. The story opens with college students taking their final exam.
What was Roger Bacon called, Mr. McQuirter?
English powder monk.
Now, these initial queries don't necessarily seem out of the ordinary, but we get a hint that things are off when a student is only able to partially answer his question.
I gave you 3 out of 4.
And in giving me 3 out of 4, you proved yourself incompetent.
The tense interaction between the student and professor makes it crystal clear there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye.
Oh.
At this point in the segment, you may wonder if perhaps this is another one of Serling's meditations on conformity. But as the
But-
examination continues into the behavioral sciences section, we descend into some unsettling territory.
Look at Mr. Barnes to your right.
He's black,
And being black may pose a special problem.
but he might be pushy, aggressive.
The professor's questions shift toward race and social class.
tends towards snobbery. White trash, ignorant, no graces.
The segment goes back and forth with these intense social conflicts until an escalation becomes inevitable.
Bigoted, aggressive, preset prejudices.
Class of 99 is another shining example of Serling weighing in on subjects he had strong feelings about, with the backdrop of higher
Yep.
education serving as an ideal fit for the narrative. I also like that this time around, Serling was far more bold in his...
And the fact it's actually college right now because, hey, I remember when I was in college, there were like different forms of area. Like, yeah, people have their own beliefs, like different like politics and that. In the States, wow. Everywhere is divided, especially in Harvard with, the events of like Palestine and that. Jesus, like, yeah. The fact there are people that support Palestine and you got those support Israel, which that's insane, like. And you have those who don't give a shit, like, hey, I just want to continue my education, that's it, and then they'll be branded as the enemy. Then you have the government trying to hound them. Like, you got those who are doing peaceful, but they're branded as terrorists, which is total bullshit. You got this one who's a student, and they have him arrested for almost a year with baseless evidence until he was freed. Remind you, he had a wife who was with child. So yeah, they were friending a pregnant woman. So that's how scummy the government is. And this ain't the only one. And this is actually about racism. Jesus, that's actually through all colleges for the years. I remember the events of Charlottesville back when I was in my associate's degree. It was like in the final days, and we were taking socialism, where our professor, she asked about the current situation about Charlottesville when I mentioned about the Confederates, their one is fighting against racism, and that no one should be honoring the history of those who oppress slavery and prefer of white power. And those who want to protect it even means protecting evil. Here's a funny twist right here. If you recall Robert E. Lee, who was the commanding officer of all the Confederate Army, on his deathbed, he didn't want no statue. Not himself or anyone. Because he knew he lost and he accepted that. That's why General Grant, who later became President Grant, admired him as a true man. Because he knew he was on the losing side. And the only thing the Confederates cared is protecting their property, which is, slavery. And when he passed, the people who were from, descendants of the Confederate, they didn't listen. Nope. They didn't listen to what Robert E. Lee said. They put statues. They formed, the Sisters of the Confederacy, which they're still around. Which, that's insane. Like, I think they took down many of the statues. I think there's one in Virginia, which is a massive statue of Robert E. Lee. They found like a time capsule in the base of the statue, which is actually interesting. They found an actual time capsule in there, which is pretty cool. But yeah, to me, these kind of statues should be in museums and not in public spaces whatsoever. It's insane. And people say, what was the flag? Like, if they're in cemeteries of the graves of soldiers, because hey, the Civil War was a dark chapter in American history because it was not about. This was not even about of a country attacking another country. This was neighbor versus neighbor, brother versus brother, of both North and South. And you thought the World Wars were worse? No, the camps back in the day, like Andersonville, it was worse. But with how the Union treat the Confederate prisoners, it's unheard of. Like, you'll only hear like the horrors from the the Confederate POW camps, but not the Union. It couldn't the crimes what the Union Army did with free slaves. Like, you heard the Devil's Punch Bowl? Yeah, they actually round up free slaves, rape the women, and murder the men, and then murder the women. What is there now is a bunch of peach groves tainted with the blood of the murdered slaves by the Union Army, which is what they call it, the Devil's Peach Bowl. I think that's the correct name. I can't remember, which is insane. Fuck. And this is not, they don't teach you this in history class. No, they never teach you that. Which is crazy. And you got this asshat Trump who wants to, he's trying to erase everything. I think he had ordered, like, historic areas to remove, like, information about slavery, but he's trying to erase it. Even purging, like, you know, like, ethno groups, like, through the military database, like historic soldiers, officers of, you know, a different color, that they serve gallantry throughout the armed forces of the United States. Just nothing. Even their erasing names involve sexuality. And guess what they erased? The famed B-29 bomber that dropped the bomb on Hiroshima, the Enola Gay, which has nothing to do with sexuality. It's just the last name of the pilot and is actually named after his mother. That is so stupid. But nope, people nowadays, this is the problem. Now people are just stupid in the brain. If these soldiers came back to life, they'll give it a massive beating until they tell it to stop it. Because we didn't fight for our lives, so you idiots act like a bunch of retarded morons. Which, man, I would agree with the dead over the living, because if the dead saw this, man, they'll be giving hell on earth to these idiots. Because what these people, okay, the heroes that sacrificed their lives to protect this country, for what? For the new generation? I'm talking about the ones that are running now, just spit on their graves. Even now, the current soldiers, now they want a new war. Like, I think it was during a Congress meeting that they forcibly removed a Marine, a veteran of the, you know, the war on, like, Iraq and the Middle East. Tell them another war in the Middle East is bad news and not a good idea. And what do? They forcibly kick him out. Literally, 2 officers he was in full uniform. And he was a sergeant. And he was holding the door until a senator broke his arm trying to let it go. Yeah. A senator broke an arm of a Marine. Combat veteran. So, that's a slap in the face for your service. Like, they don't give shits. I'm sorry. I hope that senator gets arrested and charged of injuring a veteran. Sergeant, I salute you for your service and your sacrifice. As the son of a veteran myself, and my grandfather who served in both world wars, and my great granduncle who was a captain of the Spanish military, I salute for your sacrifice. And tell these assholes the truth, because you're saying that if you make money on war, you're a scumbag. If you make money on bounty hunting, you're stupid. If you recognize the quote, it's the quote from the merchant from the arms dealer from Porco Rosso, when Porco went to pick up his machine gun, and the repairman mentioned that quote to the kid, saying, he said, "What's the difference?" Well, if you make money on war, you're a jackass. I think you're a jerk. To me, I think the proper word is asshole. And if you make money on bounty hunting, you're stupid. So, in other words, they're making money on war, which, yeah. They don't give 2 shits on service, even though the vice president is a former Marine. It's strange how he's silent, not standing up for his Marine here. Yeah. How funny it is. And the only military was Kelly, you know, the one that Department of Defense, Secretary of Defense, and the Vice President and Trump are attacking. An actual decorated veteran. Not only that, he served as commander in multiple space shuttle missions. You heard me? The space shuttle program. He has a full resume of his achievements compared to the Secretary of Defense. Yeah. I'm sorry. He should have been the Secretary of Defense, not this idiot. And yes, the way they depicted in South Park, Well corrected. It's kind of fun. I kind of agree with some of the episodes that Ross Sterling did involving politicals and that. It's kind of predicted our situation now, but we just leave the hands of fate to see what happens now. But let's continue with this episode.
Approach, but just as clever as ever.
What's this one?
Our next
Tell
segment,
David.
Tell David, is one of the weirder entries on my list. But that's not to say this is the weirdest segment in the series. There's plenty of other stories that will jump
Kevin.
ahead in that area. Tell David stars Sandra Dee as Ann Bolt. Up front, she finds herself lost in a thunderstorm. She stops at a house to use the phone and is greeted by a woman named Pat Blessington.
Would you like some coffee? It's already made.
Now, one curious aspect of this opening is the home is filled with some impressive technology for the time. There's a FaceTime-like phone, and later we even see an electronic map, akin to our modern Google Maps.
There it is, Ann.
That's
the quickest
insane.
route.
But it wasn't just the tech that seemed out of place. What really grabbed me was the fact that this couple let a total stranger into their home. I've seen more than enough horror movies to know situations like this usually go pretty bad.
Yep.
But this strange setup and the possibility of where the story could go kept me hooked. Thankfully, the segment maintains steady momentum, offering up even more curveballs along the way.
That was a little cliffhanger, I tell you
Tecnología
what.
que se disfruta a tu manera.
What the fuck was
¿Sientes los
that?
ojos secos o irritados? El ambiente puede afectarlos más de lo que
Stupid
imaginas.
ads. Buzz off.
That how I sound to you?
Another highlight of Tell David is the solid performance from Sandra Dee. She's best known for her role in Gidget, a movie credited with kickstarting the beach party and surfer craze.
Oh, yeah.
And horror fans will recall her from yet another H.P. Lovecraft adaptation, The Dunwich Horror.
What do you want to hear,
Oh.
Ann? That I'm keeping some woman on the side?
The key aspect in this story is Anne's strained marriage. But the puzzle we're left to piece together is how her troubled home life intersects with this uncanny couple who dwell in a futuristic house. Now, some viewers may be like Herbie Bittman and able to predict where this one is going.
There'll be some damage and some fatalities as well.
On my first watch, the story kept me guessing. Maybe I could have used a map myself to figure things out. In any case, I still think the strong performances and the bizarre journey makes Tell David worth the price of admission.
Yeah.
I've been good.
Oh, hell
Stanton says I've
no.
been good.
Oh, hell no. I recognize that art. If you don't know what I'm talking about, wait for it, because I recognize this is from season 1, and that ending is just insane.
And
Yep.
I have a new doll.
Yep.
Up next, we have a story about a doll,
doll.
that looks like it was handcrafted by Satan himself. The doll stars
Oh man, this episode I remember. This is from the season 1 collection of Night Gallery. And this is just, it sits in during the Victorian era of, it's set during the Victorian era, like around 1890s, 1880s, around there. Which you have the uncle who's the guardian of his niece, whose parents died, which he's a British soldier, which of course he has blood on his hands because he was in India, which if you recall the history of the British in India, yeah. Not good, but let him finish. You know why.
John Williams, who is best known for his role in Dial M for Murder,
Oh,
and a ton of
really?
other work with Alfred Hitchcock. Here he
I didn't
plays
know
British
that.
Colonel Heinberg Masters. After being away on a long trip, Masters arrives home to discover that someone has sent a very strange doll to his house. Unfortunately, his niece Monica, as played by Jewel Blanche, has taken a liking to this little abomination. Monica keeps the doll with her at all times, and as evil dolls are known to do, apparently it even speaks to her.
She talks to me about all kinds of things. Especially you. She must be very fond.
You know what's fucked up? When he got her a new doll, that thing destroyed the other doll. And you know what's, I don't know if he's gonna explain who was it, but let's see. If he doesn't explain it, I'll explain it to you.
Of you, Uncle.
Set during the British era of colonialism, this story is a welcome change-up from many of the other contemporary tales in Night Gallery. This one offers up a bleak and eerie atmosphere throughout. As far as the creepy doll goes, I actually like that we skip by any notions that this thing
Yeah,
could
look at
be
that
innocent.
doll.
And who gave you that?
Sir, I assumed you did.
From the first moment Masters sees the doll, it's obvious. He's as disturbed by it as we are. The doll's eyes are black
Yeah,
and
look at
around
that
the edges.
smile.
Its skin looks like it's been peeled off a cadaver. You just know this thing has a taste for blood.
She speaks to me all the time. Mostly at night.
Eventually, we discover there's a unique backstory tied to the doll, and some rather dark history that also comes into play, all of which unfolds at a perfect pace and keeps you hooked. At some point, pretty much every horror anthology series out there features a creepy doll of some sort. So it's
we
great to
have
see
Tales
Night
from the
Galleries
Crypt,
take on this
Evil
formula.
Dead,
It's no
Goosebumps.
surprise the doll is a fan favorite.
Senses.
Okay, to explain to you, the doll was sent by an Indian man whose brother was executed by the British under the uncle's command in India. So as revenge, he sent a doll which, let's just say, when he mentions the doll's bite, is way more dangerous. So yeah, that's why you see that thing smile like. Unfortunately, the doll bites him, but he destroys the doll. But fortunately, guess what happens? In the end, when the Indian man leaves, he receives a package, and guess what it is? The uncle is turned into a doll, and when he opens it, his eyes open and he smiles, which, yeah. That's the face like, hello, motherfucker. I'm gonna fuck you now. But before he was turned to a doll, he told the nanny that he has an inheritance, so he's gonna put his niece as the main benefactor, where she can live in the country, have a lot of money for new toys, friends, you know. Which, yeah, to prevent her from seeing her uncle's transformation into a doll. And that doll is just insanely creepy, which... And remember, this was part of a 3-episode of the Night Gallery. 3 stories in 1 episode. If this was done like for one story in 1 episode, and made it longer, that would have been interesting. It's kind of like reminds you like Talking Tina in the Twilight Zone, like that one. That's insane, but and I like how he features the other ones. The one is Coco the Clown from the episode Strung Along from Tales from the Crypt, Ashy Slashy the Muppet from season 2 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. I don't know who else. We have Slappy from Goosebumps, which is pretty cool. Which it's kind of interesting you featured those 3, which is insane. Featuring Coco the Clown. And he's supposed to be a parody of Howdy Doody, which from a 50s television show, which that episode is messed up because the old man, he married a younger woman until he found out she's cheating on him for his money. That is fucked up. And I'm glad they got what they deserve, both of them. Well, he didn't murder them. He didn't murder them, but he made them to, puppets. And guess who? And guess the twist. He is Coco the Clown. When the police arrive, they see him as a puppet, wearing Coco's outfit, which, damn. And was the other one a Zuni doll from Trilogy of Terror? You know, the Zuni doll? But let's see with this one. I don't recognize it.
So alert, so aware. I think I like you because you're different from the others.
The others.
Other champions.
Stepping away from pure horror for just a second, our next segment
The Ring
is
with
The
the
Ring
Red
with the Red
Velvet
Velvet
Ropes.
Ropes. What this
Season
one
3.
lacks in scares, it makes up for with an eerie, dreamlike atmosphere and a thought-provoking narrative. The segment stars Gary Lockwood as Jim Figg, a heavyweight boxer fresh off winning the World Championship title. Now, as a fan of boxing stories, it was easy for me to get into this one. But another aspect that helps is the story makes the jump into crazy territory very early on. Jim barely has a moment to celebrate his victory before he gets a strange visit from the man he just defeated.
Champion. You just think you're a champion.
Shortly thereafter, Jim finds himself somehow transported to this strange, ritzy hotel. A Apparently, he's been summoned by Mr. and Mrs. Blanco. Sandra Blanco, as played by Joan Van Ark, tells Jim he has to fight her husband, a former undefeated champion.
Do not leave here, Fig, until you've met me. And
Where did I have seen him before? Wait. Was he in Tourist Trap? Yeah, I can't remember, but the face looks familiar. Wait, was he in Tourist Trap? Was he the villain from Tourist Trap? You know, the one that has telekinesis? He controls all those mannequins? Let's see if I'm right. He looks familiar.
Mr. Blanco is portrayed extremely well by Chuck Connors, who offers up a nuanced performance.
Talk to my manager.
Yep.
don't you understand?
Yep, Chuck Connors, yeah. He also appeared in other movies. I can't remember which, but if I'm correct, he played the main villain in Tourist Trap, which it was a movie directed by part of the production of Charles Band, aka the house of, you know, many B movies like Puppet Master, Demonic Toys. This is actually a good horror film, which is just insane. If you have phobia like mannequins and that, do not watch this. You'll be having one hell of a nightmare and shitting your pants.
Stand anything, Fig? No managers, no crowds, no public displays.
Sports fans will recall Connors was one of only 13 athletes in
Oh.
history to have played in both Major League Baseball and the NBA. Connors' work in television and film spanned decades, his most iconic role being the
Rifleman.
lead in The Rifleman. And he also had notable parts
Yeah,
in Soylent
I was
Green
right.
and Tourist Trap.
Yep, I was right. Mm-hmm. Soylent Green. Okay. But I was right. Tourist Trap. Yep. And you know what's more fucked up? If you recognize the poster, right? In the original poster, that face had eyes. Like, actual eyes. And it was so creepy. It actually traumatized children when they saw it. They had to get rid of the eyes, so it'd be like only dark, hollow sockets. Which Google, I'd say, yeah. If you go like Tourist Trap advertisement, the original, you see the original one with the eyes, which is just creepy as fuck. Which if I heard correctly, scared a whole lot of children. More than I thought. And I forgot also he was an athlete, like with the Dodgers, the Celtics, and wait, who else? Let me see. He was both baseball and basketball, which damn. With the Boston Celtics and the Brooklyn, was this the Dodgers? This has to be like, you know, the LA Dodgers, not the Brooklyn Dodgers, which how old is he? I gotta check. Hold on 1 second. Let me check. How old was he? Let me see. What year was he born? Let me check. Because I got curiosity here. Let's see. Where is it? When something like this happens, you catch my curiosity. Okay, check. What was his name? Chuck Jones? Whoops, wrong Chuck Jones.
Who have played in both Major League Baseball and
Sorry about that, folks. The camera stopped. Which is a bad habit. As I was saying before the video before it literally just canceled, I was actually checking about Chuck Connor. When I mentioned, when I said, wait, did he play with what was it? Turns out he was born in 1921, so he played with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and then the Chicago Cubs, then later he played with let's see. Okay. He was mostly with, he started playing basketball first with the Boston Celtics from 1946 to 1948, and then the MLB with the Brooklyn Dodgers and the Chicago Cubs. With 40 years in film and television, called his most iconic role in Rifleman, which I remember that show. I've seen the reruns on, okay, you know the channel Encore has like Western shows like Gunsmoke, Cheyenne, Lawman. Yeah, it also had Rifleman as well, starring Chuck Connor. And yes, if you notice me pausing there, I actually confused Chuck Connor with Chuck Jones, which, oops. That's a sin right there. Which is insane. He also appeared in an episode of The Adventures of Superman, which I knew. There are others as well. Like, he also appeared in the sequel of Airplane 2, which is definitely called the sequel. He also appeared in others, like he appeared in an episode from Tales of Wells Fargo. Rifleman being his more popular one. Let's see. He was in others like Flipper, Move Over Darling, My Favorite Wife. What else? There's a lot he did. Which, of course, he appeared in Night Gallery, which, no shit, of course. Thrill Seeker. Oh, wait. That's a different series, never mind. What else? Mostly westerns and the other film, Tourist Trap. But yeah. He was a character actor, which is actually quite interesting. And he also appeared along with other stars, which... Well, Betty White as well. That's cool. And Lucille Ball. He also appeared in Hey Jeannie, The Laura Young Show, Show's Playhouse. Wow. Wait, how tall was Chuck Connor anyway? He was a basketball player, so okay, his height. Jesus Christ, he's an inch taller than me. I'm 6'4", he's 6'5". 1 inch higher. Fuck. That is one big dude. He's like a neck taller than me, or shoulder taller. Which is 196 centimeters. Damn. Let's continue here.
League Baseball and the NBA. Connor's work in television and film spanned decades, his most iconic role being the lead in The Rifleman. And he also had notable parts in Soylent Green and Tourist Trap. This segment features strong performance.
Bro, when the reason when I knew that, oh yeah, he was in Tourist Trap, but I didn't know he was the star of Rifleman, which, and plus he was a former athlete, both for the NBA and the MLB. Wow. Who knows? Hey, the more you know.
Performances all around, including a brief but memorable cameo from Jitu Kumbuka. You may recognize him from Harlem Nights and countless roles in film and TV as well.
I've tweaked your imagination, Vic. A rare accomplishment, I expect.
The key aspect of this segment is the ambiguity. Nothing is fully spelled out for us, but elements such as the Ring of Fire and this bizarre setting, which seemingly exists out of time, suggest possible deeper meanings in this scenario. And it's also telling that, at the heart of it all, we have two champions who exemplify one of Shakespeare's more infamous quotes, "Uneasy lies the head that wears a crown."
Yep.
Móntate en la ola de sabor de Chili's con los nuevos fish tacos, pescado crujiente empanado, repollo fresco.
Damn. Now these are... Okay. Where have seen that one before?
Those of you who can't stand creepy crawlers, brace yourselves. The Caterpillar may be a tough watch.
Season 2.
The Caterpillar stars Lawrence Harvey, who was best known for his role in The Manchurian Candidate.
Hey, Frank Sinatra.
And it also features Night Gallery veteran Joanna Pettit, who you may know from The Evil, a horror gem I discussed right here on the channel. Set in the jungles of Borneo, we're introduced to British civil servant Stephen Macy. Macy left Britain to escape boredom, but in Borneo, all he finds is more boredom. And rain. Lots and lots of rain.
Does it never stop raining?
Sometime in March.
This is one miserable guy, but misery loves company, and the company Macy desires is Rona.
How about you, Macy? An appetite?
Slowly growing.
Rona is the younger wife of his commanding officer, Colonel Warwick, as played by Tom Helmore. The couple are deeply in love, but that doesn't stop Macy from pursuing her.
I have a suggestion.
Of course.
A friendly suggestion. Take a cold bath, Mr. Macy.
One cold bath later, a thoroughly rejected Stephen plots with the fellow British expatriate on how to get Rona's husband out of the picture. And that brings us to the topic of the day, deadly earwigs.
Now, if you were to place one of these earwigs in a man's ear, it's 1,000 to 1 chance of it ever coming out the same way again.
Apparently, the carnivorous earwig is capable of crawling into people's ears and slowly devouring their brains.
It's a living torment is what it is. Torture. But the net result, there's the beauty of it.
I'll avoid going into further details about this one, but needless to say, we do get some earwig action, and the pain caused by the creature is excruciating. For obvious reasons, the caterpillar is widely regarded as one of Night Gallery's most disturbing segments.
Oh, it's the pilot. It's the pilot. The cemetery.
Next up, we have
Pilot,
another fan favorite, The Cemetery. This was the renowned pilot that launched the series. Many fans ranked this segment very high on their lists, and obviously, I'm in agreement.
I have
Dude, this should have been a movie. This should be a television movie. Because this is a good story.
spent a good deal of my life acquiring a taste for the good life, but somehow never acquiring the means.
How sad, sir.
The Cemetery stars the legendary Roddy McDowall, who's best known for roles in The Planet of the Apes,
Hey!
Fright Night, and countless
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, right. I did mention like the other guy from Planet of the Apes, and we got Cornelius and Caesar himself. Man, and I didn't know he was in Fright Night. Damn. Lassie Come Home. How Green Was in My Valley. Cleopatra. I think that was before Planet of the Apes, which, man, dude, he was good in Planet of the Apes. He played both father and son, both Dr. Cornelius and the future leader of the apes, Caesar. Which, to me, the original ones are always good because of the makeup. Now they've got digital, and let's just say 20th Century, it's the only one that didn't fuck up the series, unlike other series from different, be like Avengers, Star Wars, Star Trek, you know that. Planet of the Apes always comes up on top, and they don't like rush to put another movie. They just bite their tongue, wait for the right time to make the movie and release it, without everybody noticing it, and it becomes a success. Friday Night 2. Oh, okay. But Roddy McDowall, I didn't knew he played a scumbag, which is that's out of character for him. He played this gentle chimpanzee doctor. He also played his son as well. That's pretty cool. But yeah, let's continue.
performances spanning over 60 years. Here, McDowall delivers an unforgettable performance as Jeremy Evans, a selfish, black sheep nephew with his sights set on the fortune of his rich uncle.
I forget who played him.
Isn't that refreshing, Uncle?
With his uncle's health in severe decline, Jeremy makes sure to park his wheelchair right in front of the breeziest window he can find.
Drink it all in, Uncle, like a new tenant investigating his new abode.
Shortly thereafter, Jeremy's uncle passes away, he inherits the family estate, and our journey into creepy territory begins.
Hey, look at this.
Look at what, sir?
The picture, the paint, stupid. Look at it.
In this case, Jeremy's nightmare plays out as he's haunted by one of his uncle's ever-changing paintings.
I see nothing wrong, sir.
I just like how every time the paint
The
just
cemetery is
changes.
a dark and
Open
thoroughly
grave and their
entertaining
body
story,
shows up.
and I love that it keeps us in suspense and questioning what's truly happening. Is Jeremy simply going mad, or is his uncle actually seeking vengeance from beyond the grave?
I am a scoundrel, am I not?
You're a swine, sir.
Another highlight here is the ongoing conflict between Jeremy and his uncle's butler, Portafoy, a name we hear a whole lot in this story.
Would you care to pay your last respects, Portafoy? Why do you load it up that way, Portafoy? Tell me, Portafoy. 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 Dwell on it, Portafoy.
Portafoy is played very well by Ozzie Davis, who's best known for his work in Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, Jungle Fever, and the cult classic Bubba Hotel.
Oh, really? See, it was a movie
The Cemetery
where
represents some of Serling's finest writing
Bruce
in Night
Campbell.
Gallery.
That's
The
awesome.
story is filled with clever twists and turns. Guaranteed.
I hate this man.
Guaranteed, this one will stick with you.
What are you gonna do with yourself?
Okay, what's
Taking
number
Ada for a
one?
ride.
Oh, what's number one?
And Ada, huh?
Aunt Ada.
Why?
And that takes us to my favorite Night Gallery segment
Where's seen her
since
before?
Aunt Ada came to stay. This story is about a professor who discovers his wife's visiting aunt may be a witch.
What's this stuff?
Oh, yeah.
Herbs, dearie. Herbs to
Oh,
help
no.
us.
If I recall really, they switched
This one
bodies.
stars James Farentino and his then real-life wife, Michelle Lee, as Craig and Joanna Lowell, a young couple who have no idea of the hell they're about to endure.
It's not going to be much longer.
We soon learn Aunt Ada is far more than just some innocent elderly relative. She reeks of witchcraft and very clearly has some sinister plans
Yep.
brewing. Aunt Ada was played extremely well by Jeanette Nolan, an acclaimed actress with an impressive career
Oh.
in film and television. Interestingly, this wasn't her first go-around in a role like this. She played similar parts in Boris Karloff's Thriller and in Twilight Zone.
I didn't know
You
that.
have seen my picture in the family album.
Far more than just some ghoulish threat looming in the shadows, Aunt Ada is downright terrifying. She has tons of tricks up her sleeves, and when she springs into action, all hell breaks loose.
What are you after? I will have an answer.
A good portion of this segment involves Craig struggling to figure out what Aunt Ada wants from them. This intense conflict is central, pitting rationality against ancient dark forces. Farentino, who I mainly know from another 80s horror gem, Dead and Buried, does really well here as our skeptical lead, forced into this nightmare scenario.
Disbelieve if you will, my friend, but also do not forget.
Thankfully, he does get some help from Lost in Space veteran Jonathan Harris, who portrays the oddball Professor Nick Porteous. He's the occult expert and go-to guy when it comes to witch infestations. For those of you seeking vintage horror, this segment offers up more than enough creepy witchcraft and chilling moments.
Craig, you're frightening me to death.
I'm fighting to keep you alive.
So, there we have it. 10 of my favorite Night Gallery segments. Thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate it. And I hope you enjoyed this trip back to Rod Serling's Night Gallery. There's a lot of other favorites, so who knows? Maybe we'll revisit this topic one
the
day,
Morgue
and I'll
one, that
spotlight
was
even more
insane.
segments. In the meantime, feel free to comment about some of your favorite segments below. Don't forget, hit like and sub. Until next time, take care. Later.
Well then, that was a good video, wasn't it? And I didn't expect that episode of Aunt Ada. If you wonder what happened, yeah, she's a witch, and the reason why she goes there is because she was about to switch bodies with her niece. Yeah, the guy's wife. To be young. That's why she says, they don't see photos of mine in the family portraits. Because she switched bodies with the younger relatives. Which is insane. But yeah. There are other episodes from Night Gallery I remember. There was, like I mentioned, with John Ashton. There was also one, which is, you heard the term of the Flying Dutchman, right? Imagine that name, instead of a ship, it's a person who is picked up by doomed ships, doomed. And this is what happened to him, because he was picked up by an ocean liner, and guess what ocean liner was that one? The Lusitania. And guess what lifeboat he was in? The Titanic. And then when the Lusitania got sunk, guess who's the next one? The Andrea Doria. His lifeboat says Lusitania. which is insane. So yeah, the Flying Dutchman, but a human person, trying to be rescued by the ships will be doomed, which is insane. But yeah, let me know in the comments what you think of this video. If you've ever seen Night Gallery, if you own the collection of it, if you've seen like reruns, if it was on television, if by chance. Let me know in the comments down below what's your favorite segment of Night Gallery. Me, I already mentioned some of mine, but I yapped a lot now, so let me end this video now. If you're new to the channel, remember to subscribe, hit the bell, like this video, and if you're new, well, you already know. Until then, stay safe, take care, peace out, see ya.